Hello guys, welcome back. My cat is sitting directly behind my camera, testing my nerves. Can you stop? Can you go anywhere else? Anywhere else but here. I'm gonna stop. Guys, this is literally, I'm gonna insert a clip. Can you, Draco, literally anywhere else? Go, please go. Come over here, come on. Come on, why? Why is this, oh, you're cute though.
Hi.
But yes, guys, hi, welcome back. Exciting announcement, not so much for you, but for me. I got a new bookshelf. Nikki's Book Nook is coming together. I really try to make an effort, like once a year, to clean out my book collection. I know that sounds crazy and it breaks my heart to give books away, but like, they take up a lot of space, and I just feel like if you're not gonna if you know you're not gonna reread a book, there's no need to keep it. Like, you should donate it or bring it to Half Price Books, get a little money, get some more books. Anyways, before I moved into this apartment, I decluttered a ton of my books. I have a whole nother bookshelf behind y'all that you can't see with some things on it. Anyways, I've overflowed, so now I have a second one. It's like empty right now, which is so satisfying. There's only like 3 books on it, so I can't wait to fill it with you guys. Exciting stuff. This is not related to what we're talking about, but if you guys watched my last video, you will know I came across this little book in Target called Crush. Fully thought it was just going to be a Twilight ripoff. I got it for shits and gigs. It ended up not being a Twilight ripoff. I ended up loving it. It was a little fun, it was a little goofy, it was an easy read, and couldn't put it down. Loved it so much. So now today I'm here to talk about the second book. I didn't give any spoilers in that first review, so I'm gonna try my best to not do that in this one either, but no promises, because honestly I feel like if you're watching this, you probably read the first one. I purposely didn't give them in the first one because I wanted you to go read it. I feel like if you're back, you've read it. If not, I'm gonna try to keep it general in the beginning and then I'll let you know. But no promises. Anyways, yes, Crush, guys. Once again, I loved this book. I've set aside my issues with the branding of Twilight. I love the way this looks. I love this like geode dripping in blood. I love the white. The cover on the inside was white as well, which is really different. I just feel like every book cover is black. This is the little Catmere Academy logo. That's the academy that they attend for the supernatural creatures. So this book, for a lot of reasons, surprised me, and it was not what I expected. I say that it was partially very predictable, but also not, I didn't know where it was gonna go. If I'm being honest, after I finished the first book, I was like, okay. I just felt like the first book, the whole book was very much like an intro. It was a very like slow burn. It takes you like 400 pages to even find out like that there's supernatural creatures, like what's going on. Like, it's a very slow build, where this book was just like, wham bam, thank you ma'am. Like, there were so many stories and things going on within this. It just made it a very different book. Like, it went, we turned up the dial from like level 2 to level 8, you know? Like, it was just very fast paced, a lot to take in. One thing right off the bat that I will say about this book, yes, I did love it. I still stick with the same thing I said about the first book, where I feel like the writing is a little juvenile, it's a little immature, it's very goofy. You find yourself laughing at it. Like, I don't hate it, doesn't ruin the story at all, but the narrator's voice definitely is very immature. Like, she just says funny things. Like, she's like, I looked at Flint with a WTF kind of look. Like, who says that? You know, like, it's just, it's funny, it's goofy. One thing that I didn't love that I found the author doing more of in this book, which this might be kind of like a hot take, the narrator was very like, I am woman, hear me roar, which, like, I'm all about an independent woman. I'm all about a strong female character in a book. I don't hate that, but like, when a female character like refuses to be helped and like insists on being a martyr, insists on like unnecessarily putting herself in danger just to like prove a point, I find that to be annoying in books and TV shows and movies, anywhere. I'm like, come on. I mean, Grace is dating Jackson Vega, who is not only a vampire, but like the most powerful vampire in existence at this current moment. Like, the man has telekinesis. He can like destroy everything in the room, like throw everything in the room without even thinking. So like, yeah, honey, like he's a little stronger than you. I'm sorry. Like she just, several times in this book, they get in like arguments where she gets mad, where she's like, I'm not just some girl that needs to be taken care of. Like, let me make my own decisions, which like, whatever. Yeah, she should make her own decisions. But I just felt like, I'm like, why are you starting a fight for no reason? Like, let the man protect you. He's got freaking telekinesis, you know? Like, it just was a little bit much for me at times. Didn't love that. I just found myself being annoyed with her. I'm just like, girl, like, you're just being problematic. Like, you're making everybody else's lives more difficult. Like, this man can literally just let him do his thing, you know? Like, yes, you can stand on your own 2 feet. We know. Now, spoilers, here we go. Like, you're a gargoyle. Like, which is so weird to say. We figure out at the end of the last book she's a gargoyle because this spell gets cast by Leah, who is Jackson's brother's ex-girlfriend. Jackson killed his brother Hudson because he was like the most powerful vampire at the time and he was trying to destroy the world, whatever. We don't get much of that info in the first book. Leah does a spell to try to bring him back. Leah ends up dying, whatever. The book ends with like us seeing Hudson's spirit or whatever. We see Hudson with a sword trying to kill Jackson in the hallway and Grace jumps in front of him and Hudson like disappears, right? And she turns to stone. We find out she's a gargoyle. She's been turned to stone for several months now. And I just thought this was kind of funny because the first like 100 pages of the book are like, oh my goodness, well what happened to Hudson? Like Hudson literally hits her with a sword, she turns to stone, and Hudson disappears. What did you think happened to him? Like he's gotta be like in her mind or something. Like he doesn't just disappear into thin air. Like to me, it was very obvious that Hudson was like somehow in Grace or a part of Grace. And like you see from the beginning of the story, like she hears things in her mind, like she finds her like body doing things that she doesn't want to do. She wakes up like losing time, forgetting things. So whenever the revelation comes that it's like, oh, Hudson's in your head, like Hudson's in you, it's like, what? I'm like, okay, like I knew that. Like I could have told you by page 10, but you know, 150 pages later. So yes, in the beginning when that was going on, I was like, okay, this is a little predictable, like whatever. Once we actually like find out Hudson is in her head and now that she's aware, she can hear him and actually see him because she's like seeing a projection of him. Hudson's essentially living inside her head and only she can hear him and see him. No one else can. He can speak to her, but because he's in her head, he hears her every thought. Which obviously creates for a little bit of a fun, kind of scandalous situation. Not quite scandalous in the beginning. In the beginning, of course, like, she hates him. She thinks that he, like, was going for a genocide of all species except for purebred vampires, blah, blah, blah. Like, same old story we've seen a million times, but we all eat up every single time. I mean, like, by the end of it, like, we get to meet Jackson and Hudson's parents. They're horrible people, obviously. We're introduced into a new sport called Ludares, which is, I mean, it's kind of fun, like Quidditch, whatever. It's not anything like Quidditch, but just the idea of, like, a game that's specific to, like, this academy and, like, all these species. We get to learn all about Grace's gargoyle powers. She's the only gargoyle for 1,000 years. I mean, yeah, like, lots of things happen, but essentially now we're kind of caught in this, like, they don't make it an obvious love triangle, not until like the very end, but y'all, I'm team Hudson, like through and through. It's so funny because like, I mean, I love a scandal, I love a love triangle, but a lot of the times I am for the original guy. Like, I was team Edward through and through from the beginning, like couldn't even question it. I mean, like in Shadowhunters, like team Jace, even though that's a weird situation, that's her brother, that's a bad analogy. Team Will in Infernal Devices, I can't think of any other examples right now, but normally I go for the original guy because I'm like, I'm a committed gal, you know? I don't fall often, but when I fall hard, and like there's no unfalling for me. So it's hard for me to fully switch to another guy. I love it. I love the scandal of it. I love the tension. I eat it up, but we're gonna go back to the original guy at the end of the day. But I am all for Team Hudson here. I think Jackson is not letting on all the truth. I think that Hudson is not nearly as evil or bad as a person as Jackson tried to let on and everyone else tried to let on. Hudson is all freaking powerful. The man can turn anything to dust without even blinking. He can persuade anyone to do anything. Like, he is like the ultimate power, and he is fawning over Grace, and whenever she was a gargoyle for 4 months, she doesn't remember any of it, but it's kind of revealed at the end of the book that like they low-key fell in love. And they made a plan for her to come back thinking that she would remember, but the second she comes back, she doesn't remember anything, so she only remembers Jackson. So this whole book, Hudson is like in her head having to think about her having feelings for Jackson, and it's like heartbreaking, but he can't say anything because she doesn't remember. It's kind of like when Elena loses all her memories in Vampire Diaries and then Damon like has to make her fall in love again, which I don't even want to talk about that. Still mad about that. Different subject. Too many vampires in my life, but yeah, this book ended with Hudson being like, Jackson, get off my mate. Grace almost died because Jackson's dad bit her because he's afraid of her. Anyways, not sure if this was a review or just like a chat, but I was about this book. I was about Crush. Things are heating up. I'm really surprised. I mean, there are some things still, I do agree, the writing isn't like the greatest thing ever. Not just because of the narrator's voice, but I do just think there are some things like, just some plot holes, some things that are just too easy, some things that she leaves out. I mean, the girl Grace has talked about her best friend Heather for 2 books now, but she's like, we don't know anything about her. She's like never freaking talked about. She just mentions her. Like there's a major lack of character development in some places for sure. I wouldn't say any of these characters are like overly crazy or dynamic. I mean, the most crazy dynamic character we've seen so far is Hudson, which is why he's my favorite so far. I'm about it. I'm here for it. Love triangle is great. A love triangle with hot vampire brothers is even better. So excited to read the 3rd book. I hope you guys will stay on this journey with me. If you have not yet read this, you probably had no idea what I just talked about, but I encourage you to read this series for sure. I am on the 3rd book now. It is called Covet. Here's a picture of it. So I will be reviewing that very soon because I already started it. I'm sure I'll fly through it just like I flew through this one. There are 4 books total in the series. The 4th one doesn't come out until September, so gonna have a little break after this 3rd one. But yeah, I'm so pleasantly surprised by this series. I'm really glad I picked it up. It's been a nice mental break. It's been nice going back to my roots of my vampires. Once again, I said it in the last video, I'll say it again. If you guys have any other vampire romance recommendations for me, like anything Twilighty, anything crushy, like I eat it up. It's my favorite. And besides True Blood, I don't want to read the True Blood series. I tried and I loved the series, like the TV series. The book I couldn't read, I hated it. So if there's any more, I'll recommend them. But yeah, that is it for now, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's ramble. I will talk to you guys very soon. Thanks for watching.